Hi everybody, it's Dinesh D'Souza. I'm really happy to be saying a few words, well, just a few words to you today. I realize that these are tough times, not just for California, but for America. The fact that Gavin Newsom, this guy who has run California into the ground, the idea that this guy could beat a recall is bad news for the state, because it means that he was able to summon up enough support to sustain himself in office, even as he tries to pull California toward greater forms of control, greater forms of tyranny. This is the most beautiful state in the nation by far. And I say that even as someone who is now a Texan. And California is the only state that has its own dream, the California dream, which is almost a kind of American dream in italics. It's disheartening when we all remember, when California was Nixon country and Reagan country. So the idea that this beautiful state that once gave everybody a sort of little slice of heaven is now being messed up in this way by the Democrats. But when we think about California, we got to remember that that's the Democrats' blueprint for America. Debbie sometimes says that before they make America into Venezuela, they're going to make California into Venezuela first. This is their goal. And we see on the national level that Biden is doing pretty much the same thing as Newsom. He's just as disastrous, and he has accumulated one failure after another on the domestic front, on the foreign policy front. Look at the effort to increase social control. Mandates on this, mandates on that. The idea is for the government to have full control over your life. And then on foreign policy, oh my gosh, the disaster in Afghanistan, a disaster that is so catastrophic, it's hard for me to even believe that it can be unintentional. What army leaves behind, when it sets its own date for withdrawal, leaves behind a mini air force for the enemy? What army leaves behind all this material, all this equipment? What army leaves behind its own people, Americans, in Kabul, who can't get out now because the Taliban controls not just Kabul, they control the airport. I think that this is all not unintentional. There's an Obama element here, a desire ultimately to punish the United States, to send a message to America. In a weird way, Biden is colluding with the Taliban to prevent America from ever doing this kind of foreign expedition, you might say, again. And you see Obama's dirty fingerprints over it all, as you see pretty much with any American disaster. You look around, you're going to find Obama. And here's Obama having released the 5 Taliban commanders. 4 of them, by the way, are now senior officials in the Taliban regime. Obama promised us they'd all be in Qatar, staying away from terrorism. It's all lies. Now, what do we do in this situation? Well, the best thing we can do at this point is block, tackle, and disrupt. And we've got to take a certain pleasure in that, a pleasure in sort of mucking up what the other side is trying to do, making their life miserable. So I hope that you'll dedicate yourself to this task of not gorilla, but guerrilla subversion, in which you undermine, if you will, the Newsom machine, just as I'm now doing a new daily blog, the Dinesh D'Souza podcast. You can get it on audio, you can get it on video. It's on audio, by the way, on Apple. It's also on Google and on Spotify. It's on video on YouTube and Rumble. But it's my effort on the national scale to do what I can to block, tackle, and undermine the evil work that's being done by the Democratic left.